It's finally happening. After a month of insiders dropping cryptic tweets, leakers claiming they've seen secret presentations, and Sony doing its usual disappearing act, we're finally here, the June 2nd State of Play. And this feels like one of the most important PlayStation showcases in years, not because PS5 is struggling or Sony's losing, but because PlayStation fans have reached that point where they're starting to ask a very simple question: where are all the games? Not third-party games, not time exclusives, not remasters, actual first-party PlayStation games. For years, Sony built its reputation on delivering blockbuster after blockbuster: God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, even Horizon. But recently it feels like we're spending more time talking about what might be coming than what actually is being announced. And that's why tonight matters. This State of Play isn't just another showcase, it's a statement about what PlayStation's future actually looks like. So today we're diving into every major rumor, every believable leak, every insider prediction, and exactly what I think we can expect when the show goes live in a couple of hours. Because trust me, if even half these rumors are true, this could be one of Sony's best presentations in years. So let's start with the obvious: Marvel's Wolverine, the game that was announced what feels like 100 years ago, the game that's been surrounded by leaks, the game that PlayStation's fans have been begging to see, and finally Sony has basically confirmed it's going to be one of the stars of the shows. Now here's the thing: Wolverine can't just look good, it has to look incredible, because this isn't some random superhero game. This is the follow-up to the Sony Spider-Man era. This is the studio's next massive project. People want to know, how violent is it? How brutal is it? And how different is it from Spider-Man? Is it going to be open world? Is it going to be linear? Is it semi-open world? How do the healing mechanics work? Tonight we need answers, because if Wolverine doesn't leave people talking afterwards, Sony has a problem. Now, the rumor that refuses to die, the Faye game, the God of War prequel. Every couple of weeks, another insider claims they've heard something. And honestly, the more time passes, the more believable it becomes. Think about it. Santa Monica Studio isn't going to leave one of PlayStation's biggest franchises dormant forever, but continuing Kratos' story immediately might be difficult. A prequel solves the problem. You get more God of War and you get more Norse mythology. You get to explore one of the most important characters in the series, and Sony gets another guaranteed blockbuster. This feels exactly like the sort of reveal that would generate huge excitement without spoiling whatever comes next for Kratos. Next up, Naughty Dog. Where are they? We got the reveal of Intergalactic, everyone lost their minds, then silence. Nothing, no gameplay, no deep dive, no release window, no real explanation of what the game actually is, and that's becoming a problem because Naughty Dog isn't some random studio. They're arguably PlayStation's most important developer. When they reveal a game, expectations go through the roof. So if Intergalactic doesn't appear tonight, fans are going to start assuming it's much further away than originally thought. Personally, I think we finally get gameplay, maybe not a huge demo, but enough to understand what kind of game we're actually looking at. Now, every time Phantom Blade Zero appears, the internet explodes. Every trailer looks ridiculous, the combat looks insane, the visuals look incredible, and somehow every time we see it, people end up even more excited than before. This game has quietly become one of the most anticipated action RPGs in development, and let's be honest, Sony knows it. That's exactly why it keeps showing up at PlayStation events. If we get a release date tonight, social media is going to go absolutely crazy. This brings us over to Capcom. Capcom loves PlayStation showcases, and whenever Capcom has a big game coming, there's usually a pretty good chance Sony gets a marketing spotlight. Which brings us to Onimusha. The rumors of a release date announcement have been everywhere recently. The timing lines up perfectly, and frankly, it would be weird if it didn't appear. This is exactly the type of game Sony likes to include: strong visuals, recognizable franchise, hardcore audience appeal. So definitely expect it. Now here's where it gets interesting: Resident Evil. Whenever Capcom showed Resident Evil, people pay attention, and there's already rumors of it popping up again. Imagine this: the lights go down, you hear a familiar soundtrack, a creepy hallway even, a door cracks open, you see a new protagonist, or even maybe Leon. Even if you're not a horror fan, you watch Resident Evil reveals, where Capcom understands the trailers better than almost anybody in the industry. Never underestimate their ability to steal the spotlight. Now at this point, Ben Studios feels like a conspiracy theory. Years have passed. We've heard rumors, we've heard whispers, we've heard reports, but we still haven't actually seen the game. And every showcase fan says, maybe this is the one. Then it isn't, but eventually they're gonna have to reveal something, right? Surely. I genuinely think tonight could finally be the moment. Whether it's a new IP, whether it's an action game, whether it's something completely unexpected, Sony has too many studios hiding in the shadows. At some point, they need to start showing what they've been working on. So remember Fair Games. I feel like the internet has kind of forgot it existed. The game was revealed, people argued about it, then it disappeared. And considering all the reports surrounding PlayStation Live service plans over the past few years, Fair Game $ has become one of the most fascinating projects in Sony's lineup. Tonight could be a make or break. If it shows up and looks amazing, then great. But if it doesn't show up, then the questions are only going to get louder. Here's the thing nobody wants to talk about. Sony can't rely on the same franchises forever. Spider-Man can't carry every generation, neither can God of War or The Last of Us. Eventually you need new icons, new worlds, new characters, and new franchises. That's why I'm expecting at least one brand new first-party reveal, something that becomes the next major PlayStation property, because if Sony leaves this showcase without introducing at least one fresh idea, people are going to start asking serious questions about the future pipeline. Okay, time for the crazy predictions. A Bloodborne remake. Every event, every year, every rumor cycle, it never happens. Bloodborne remaster. Also no. I doubt it. New Sly Cooper. Now we're talking. This one actually feels possible. PlayStation knows its nostalgia sells, and Sly Cooper has been absent long enough that a comeback would generate genuine excitement. What about a new Infamous? That would be amazing. That would instantly get people talking, but I wouldn't bet money on it. How about a new Ghost of Tsushima? Not Yote, but maybe some kind of spin-off, or a prequel, or even another sequel. But Sony would probably want its own dedicated reveal event for this. Maybe a PS6 tease, possibly? Maybe? Likely? Absolutely not. But if Sony wants to completely break the internet, that's one way to do it. Now, what would make this show an A+? Let's imagine the perfect scenario. Wolverine gameplay, intergalactic gameplay, God of War prequel reveal, Phantom Blade Zero, Onimusha, Resident Evil presence, brand new PlayStation Studios IP, one shocking final reveal, and that's the dream showcase. That's the sort of presentation people would talk about for months. But realistically, I think we get Wolverine gameplay, intergalactic update, Phantom Blade Zero, Onimusha, Resident Evil, Fair Games update, one new first party reveal, and maybe one huge closing surprise. Not earth-shattering, but strong. And honestly, strong is exactly what Sony needs right now, because the competition is everywhere. Nintendo has big momentum at the moment. Xbox has its own showcase coming. Summer Games Fest is about to dominate headlines, and Sony needs to remain everyone why PlayStation remains one of the biggest names in gaming.